Hello again, everyone, and welcome back one more time. My name is Tom Nelson. This is a continuation of the Diabetes Control video course. It's 6 steps to gaining complete control over diabetes. This is step number 5 of those 6 steps. This is video lesson number 11, and it's part 11, the weight loss process. Once the causes of weight gain have been eliminated, which is covered quite extensively in a separate set of videos, a video course, and you have learned that these roadblocks can literally stop any chance of your losing weight. So I encourage you to watch those video series. There's over a dozen different things that can actually stop you from losing weight. Once you've addressed those, you can start applying the rest of what we've learned to begin a successful weight loss program. The most important thing you're going to learn from this program is that your eating habits are the single most important factor in your weight loss. You'll recall that you learned earlier that your body cannot allow more than a teaspoonful of glucose, of sugar, or any form of glucose or sugar from any source, which actually is 4 to 5 grams, and which will bring your blood sugar between 80 and 100 milligrams per deciliter, as read on your meter. So that's what can only be allowed in your bloodstream at any given moment in order to prevent very serious damage, because glucose and insulin, especially when they're together, are very, very toxic. So you've learned that 1 gram of low glycemic index carbohydrates, things like vegetables and some fruits, produce only 1 gram of glucose. And that 1 gram of glucose is going to enter your bloodstream, and it's going to raise your blood sugar to approximately 20 points per gram of low glycemic index. There's another form, though, high glycemic index. Those foods, things like mashed potatoes, sweet potatoes, short grain white rice, sugar, or wheat, especially wheat, those are high glycemic index foods. They will produce 2 grams of glucose and put it into your bloodstream for every gram that you eat. And that means it's going to double the amount of glucose and double the amount of increase in your blood sugars as a result of eating them. So your body's architect designed 3 storage tanks to allow the blood sugar to be maintained in a safe range. Your liver is the primary storage tank. You recall your skeletal muscles are the second, and your fat cells are the third, and that fat cells have unlimited storage capacity. Unfortunately, that's not the case of the first 2. So your body's digestive system is going to very, very agreeably digest and convert everything you eat, no matter how much, and much of that's going to become glucose. It's going to enter your bloodstream, and depending on whether it's low glycemic or high glycemic, it's going to go into your bloodstream no matter how much you eat. So glucose then is converted into the compact form called glycogen in the storage tanks, the liver and the skeletal muscles. So it's stored inside special cells in the liver, and the balance would be put into the bloodstream so that it can travel to the muscle cells, where again it would be picked up. Your body's 10 trillion cells are going to take in all that they can convert to glycogen and all the glycogen that they can store in their warehouse until they can in fact store no more. You'll remember that cells are extremely small, that the average cell in your body is 1/10 the diameter of one of the hairs on your body, which if you orient so you look at it from the end, it disappears. So each one of these cells is 1/10 the diameter of something you can't even see with your naked eye. So think about that. How much glucose do you think those cells are actually going to be able to store? So your muscle tissue cells are going to take in a larger amount because you have so much more muscle tissue, and it too is going to convert it into glycogen, and it too is going to stuff it into its little tiny warehouses for future use in the muscle cells. So if you're eating the proper amount of food, low glycemic index only, and your liver and muscle tissues will take in and store approximately 2/3 of the glucose from a meal, provided that it's the right size meal, the right amount of food, the rest will be taken in by your body's other cells. But if you eat the wrong things, high glycemic index foods, too much of anything, carbohydrates especially, even if they're low glycemic index. You're going to produce more glucose than those cells are going to be able to take in and convert to glycogen and store. And so it's going to remain in your bloodstream with nowhere to go. So your body's going to have no choice but to allow the excess insulin to stuff the excess glucose into fats. It's going to convert it into triglycerides to get it out of your bloodstream. So the excess glucose will become fat, and that will remain in storage until it is burned. The only way that the fat will be burned is if lesser amounts of glucose are available to feed those cells. So you must consume fewer carbohydrates than your body cells can burn and store each and every day. So that means eating far less of the right foods, the low glycemic index foods, which are vegetables, some fruit, and other things. Exercise is going to be the most effective way of burning the excess stored fat, 4 times more than when you're at rest. Also, recall that glycogen storage is accompanied by large amounts of water. In fact, when all of your cells have taken up all of the glucose they can and have converted it into glycogen, it will also store that glycogen with about 3 pounds of water. So your weight can fluctuate considerably day to day due to changes in the amount of glycogen that you've stored or burned and the amount of fluid that's in your body. So body weight can be impacted by increases in the fluid and the glycogen as the result of exercise, because as you exercise, you increase your body's capacity for storing more water and more glycogen. You'll also recall that set points are coded by your genes. Those set points are the charts in the control room that the little guy that runs the control room is going to reference whenever he's making changes on what's going on in your body. So you can reset over time your set points, which are currently based on your current weight. You can reset those to lower levels if you work at it. So a bad diet and overeating over time will slowly reset your body's weight set points gradually higher and higher until you reach higher and higher weight levels. And then the little guy in your control room is going to maintain that weight. He's going to fight your efforts to lose that weight. So if changes are not made, the set points will continue to rise and your body will dutifully maintain those new set points. All of that started many thousands of years ago. Our forefathers, our hunter-gatherer ancestors, lived in a feast or famine environment, their lifestyle. Many of the fruits and vegetables were seasonal, and wild animals often migrated during certain seasons of the year, particularly winter. And add to that, their hunting and farming skills were still in the process of development. So their body changed. Your body's architect designed your body to prepare for those lean times by retaining fat. And so your body will allow you to lose 5% of your current body weight without interfering, but will shut your metabolism down if you exceed that. You remember in the exercise video how your activity level and how your little guy in the control room can slow down those power plants burning glucose, leaving more and more to be converted to fat. But it will allow you to gain 25% above your current weight without interfering. So it's obviously skewed to the high side. So that plus 25% set points will be used to maintain your newer higher weight levels. It only takes 21 days for you to change your set points. If you're slowly increasing, slowly but certainly every 21 days, a new set point chart is going to go on the wall in your control room, and that little guy is going to work very hard to maintain that level. So you can gradually continue to reset your set points upward until you become very obese. Or when you reach your lower limit, minus 5%, your body can vigorously seek to maintain your weight, not allowing you to lose any more, again, by cranking up or shutting down your metabolism. So your body will not allow an override that will permit a 25% reduction in weight to lose weight like it did on the high side. So your body's going to aggressively fight any efforts that you present to try to reduce your weight below that 5% of your current weight. A 200-pound person, then, that means you could lose 10 pounds without your hypothalamus totally shutting you down. So where most diet programs fall short is that they may get their weight down, but unless they keep it there and maintain it very diligently for at least 21 days, often it's much longer than that, those set points are going to be adjusted down as well if you do maintain that weight. But if you don't, your body's going to very dutifully push your weight right back to where you started, or possibly even higher. So that means you have to limit the weight loss that you conduct each week to about 2 or 3 pounds. If you do that, your body will not shut you down. That will be a slow enough weight loss level that you won't reach that minus 5% within the period of time that it takes to reset those set points. So at that rate, you will not exceed minus 5% of your current weight. Your hypothalamus will not recognize that you're losing too much weight too fast, and he will not shut your efforts down. So every 21 days again, a new lower set point can be set for your new weight level. So that means you maintain that 2 to 3 pounds a week lost, and you are very careful not to exceed that. Every 21 days, a new set point chart is going to be put up in your control room, and your body will maintain that new level. So your body is programmed by nature to maintain at least a minimum amount of fat as a reserve. You're going to have to butt up against that. So while it's relatively easy to raise your set point, because plus 25% for a 200-pound person, it'll allow you to raise your weight 50 pounds without interfering. And then if you maintain that for 21 days, that will become your new set point, and it will fight you to lower it from there. So it's totally different scenario when you try to lower your set points for your lower end of your weight scale. So if you lose the weight too fast, your hypothalamus is going to shut you down. He's going to stop your metabolism. He's going to totally shut it down. It'll begin to substantially increase your food cravings and your hunger. And if you dieter stops the diet, even temporarily, your body's going to continue to maintain the metabolic rate at a lower level because you started cutting back too fast, and it'll increase your appetite in order to replace the fat that you lost. So when the dieter goes back on the diet, which often is the case, the body slows the metabolic rate even more, and it continues to cause even more intense food cravings. It's entirely possible to even gain weight at this level, even with that reduced caloric intake, because that metabolism has shut down so severely. So very few dieters can muster the determination and the willpower to stick with a diet long enough to reset those set points to a lower level. So it's going to take some focus. It can take up to 30 days of very strict compliance to your new regime in order to reset your set points permanently to a new and lower level. So one slip up can destroy all of the hard work that you've done to that point. Anyone that is dieting will agree that the mind plays all kinds of tricks on you to get you to eat. Just watching a commercial for a pizza can get saliva running, and those cravings can really rise very strongly. So the world is full of temptations. Nearly every day you're bombarded with opportunities to break your diet. If you think about it, most of the time when you get that very strong urge to eat, you can just stop for a moment and evaluate the situation. And more often than not, you're going to discover that you really actually are not even hungry. It's just your mind playing games with you, but you're getting overpowering urges to eat something. So just take it for what it's worth. The little guy in your control room is pushing you to build up your fat stores. That's his job. So you'll discover that if you recognize what's happening, it's a whole lot easier just to resist it, to enable yourself to continue to drop those pounds. That's covered quite extensively in the video lesson on roadblocks to weight loss as well. So over time, you can reprogram your mind to reduce the power that these cravings have over you. So now you can see that losing weight is not a simple process, because you already knew that, especially if you're diabetic. The good news, though, is that when you address the causes of weight gain, you also address many of the causes of blood sugar control issues and many diabetic complications as well. You'll discover as you cut back on your carbohydrate intake that your blood sugar management is going to become far more manageable, especially if you combine that with exercise. So you need to understand all of the variables that are at play in order to direct your actions effectively. So most important, you must take off the excess body fat. It's critically important, especially the central fat that drives insulin resistance. Before you can gain control over diabetes and regain a healthy lifestyle, you have to lose that fat. So excess body fat drives diabetes and all of its complications. So now proceed to lesson number 11, step 5 of 6, part 12. The weight loss process continued. Thank you for watching, and please pay it forward. Thank you.